Hello. So this year has been my son's first year of being homeschooled independently. I mean, last year we did the whole remote learning thing through the school, and I saw a lot of issues that came up that cemented the fact that my son needed to be homeschooled. He has a disability, and he was not being taught at his level. And then, like, the assistance he was getting was actually overcomplicating what he was. Anyway, and that was just from home. In the school, I know he was having even more issues because of the social issues and the bullying from his disability. So we decided to homeschool this year, and it has been amazing, and he has done excellent. But because of his issues and because we've never done it before, we went through a lot of programs trying to find the right thing for us. So this is actually going to be, I'm sure the title says it, this is the end of the school year, what really worked for my kid curriculum. Okay. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I did any videos, and it's the first time I've ever done a homeschool video. So I would like to start with, this is Under the Home, clearly. It's underthehome.org, and it is a complete curriculum for grades between grades kindergarten and 5th. It is free. Okay, I do not fully use this for my son, but for like the reading, writing, and language arts section, this has been the absolute best program for my son. They also have other amazing programs that I intend to use next year, but this year we have mainly used their English ones, and I'm going to go to the grade he was learning from this year with their stuff. And it's amazing that you can do that, and you can set it to the week that they're learning as well. It's really handy, but I'll go in more detail about this later. Right now I just want to show you what curriculum worked for my son. Okay, we used their poetry section a lot this year because, like I said, we have gone through a bunch of other curriculums this year. We went through about 5 or 6 till we found one that actually worked, and this worked so well for my son. But I noticed in some of the other ones that when they did poetry and they used that for explaining the language arts things, my son did amazing with it. And this one, the language arts, like the literary devices and stuff, are used mostly through poetry, and that is amazing, and it just works really, really, really well for him and the way he learns. I also learned this year that my son absolutely adores Emily Dickinson and Frost. Robert Frost, of course. He likes a lot of poetry, but those two were his favorites. And he's actually gone back and read others' works by them. He thought Henry Wadsworth Longfellow had a funny name too, which was adorable. The situation here with these is actually really cool because when you go into the lesson, it has the poem, it has the LibriVox version of somebody reading the poem when it loads, because my phone is not amazing as my son's work computer. I mean, it's not as amazing as his work computer. Yeah, there we go. It has the LibriVox version of the person reading it, which is good for my son to hear somebody else reading it with the way he learns. But also, it has a place for them to read it themselves. But the part that's helpful for us moms is the lesson guide. And if they're on the computer or their tablet and you have your phone, you can just open up right there and see what they need to do. And I love the way they set up their lesson guides. They take classic literature and classic textbooks, and then they give you a more modern actual lesson to go along with it. Again, he absolutely adored Dickinson. He loved going over where she was from and all kinds of stuff about her. A lot of times with the book activities, I would let him write a poem similar to it, even if it wasn't exactly what their thing was, because he enjoyed doing that and it helped him learn what the actual devices were as well. But yeah, I loved their poetry for this year. Boop, there we go. The prose. Oh, I love the way this website does prose. Again, it's much like the other ones. They have classical literature. It does not matter what grade they are. He actually did a lot of the second grade prose this year, which was like Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland. He's currently, at the very end of the year, we're doing Don Quixote, because I just went through all their books and just picked what I wanted because I love the way they did it, but it is beautiful choices. This is obviously Don Quixote. They take the complete book. They have it written out with pictures for the kids to read. Or again, the LibreVox version, which is wonderful because if it ever loaded with my phone, I'm sorry, there we go. Because if ever I just need him to listen to it, I can play it and he can listen to it while he does something with his hands and he's still learning. Here's the breakdown lesson for this one. Again, I love having my phone open while he's doing the stuff on his tablet, so I can just go over the lesson plan while he is doing the actual work. The vocabulary throughout the entire Under the Home program is awesome and has helped him immensely this year. Not that he didn't have a good vocabulary. That is actually one thing he does not have problems with. But it was really good. The copywork and dictation has been nice for all of it too. But my favorite part of their prose is the review. Because for each chapter they read or listen to, they have a comprehension review at the bottom of the lesson for the parents to ask. The kids, you ask the question, that gives you the answer if you weren't reading along. But it is comprehensive questions, and which is perfect for the way my son learns, to make sure he understood it. And asking the questions can actually help him to figure out what the context was of the story he listened to, which is a big deal for him. Okay. Shakespeare is cool. We did not do that this year. I'm thinking of doing that next year. And they used the McGuffey reader for their reading. Their math looks really cool. It's arithmetic, but it wasn't his vibe. I'll show you what he did for math here in a minute. But the reader, oh, I love the reader. Blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. But yeah, it's just a classic McGuffey reader, obviously. It's a reading, so they do not have a LibreVox version of this, which is good, because again, it is the reading. But they have the words, and I use the words from his reading here for his spelling. He practices reading the sentences, but when he goes over learning the words, he has the option to
newspaper, order,
to push the words to help him figure out how to sound them out.
stockings,
And it has helped him so much to hear what the words sound like when he's learning how to spell them, that his spelling has gone exponentially better than it was before. And my favorite section to use for copywork for him are these, because they break down the sections, the lessons. I mean, like the reading lesson is broken down like this, and I can tell him, okay, you're going to copy number 3 from your reading lesson today. He'll read the whole lesson, and then he'll do that for his writing copywork. And it has been so helpful with him understanding the capitals and the punctuations. And it has just been outstanding for him. I know it's classic. Everybody knows about McGuffey readers if you're doing homeschool, I guess. But Again, it was our first year, and this has just been perfect because it was free. It's all right here on the site. It's just been outstanding, and I really, really love Under the Home. They are perfect. I'm going to be so sad when he's too old to use this site. But it has so many options for all the different grades and all the different, well, you see, all the different subjects that are available. I do plan to use more of them next year, but right now we're going to go over what he used this year. Did I mention how much money I spent buying curriculums for my son before I found a bunch of free ones that actually worked better for him? Because it's insane. Because Easy Peasy has 100% been the absolute, I don't want to go into his actual thing so you see all his private stuff, but has been his absolute best for math. Some of it was actually really nice for other subjects too, but I found better options for him just because of the way he learns. But it was good, and I love their math. Their math is a beautiful, wonderful thing. If you go through EP, it takes you automatically to where they're at. Again, I just did not want to show you his private account where he does his work. I can check it. I can see everything he's doing. And there are videos and games to help him learn the work. And we have the printout workbook to go with it. And he does amazing with that. It's got enough practice pages, but it's also got not too many to overwhelm him. And the way they cycle through, like he learns a new thing and then they go back to something he's already learned and over and over and over again, and it's just perfect for the way he learns. But the extra math is awesome. It's basically practicing addition every day, practicing subtraction every day, practicing multiplication every day kind of thing. It's just depending on where your child is at. Extra math, even if you're not doing Easy Peasy, is a free program for math drills, and it is helpful and wonderful, and I love it. But that with the worksheets and the games, the math games on here, and the videos explaining how the math works is awesome. And this again is a free program. It's Easy Peasy all-in-one homeschool. Okay, it's called Easy Peasy, but the actual website is allinonehomeschool.com. It is awesome. It is free. They work on donations and totally worth donating to. You can either print out all the pages you need at home for nothing or whatever it costs you to print, or even cheaper, just buy the printout books for like $5.96 or something like that. And that's what I did. And it was so worth it. And again, I got like language arts and everything to begin with. It didn't work throughout the whole thing, except for their poetry sections, which really clicked with him. And I don't know why poetry is what clicks with him. Poetry and graphic novels are what he retains the best. So that's what we're going with a lot of things. Not to waffle. I'm sorry if I waffle, to use the British slang. But I am so happy with this math course. It has been dead on what he needed. I tried about 5 math programs. And I even went to something else after we found this just to see if he liked it better because it was more fun. But this was it. We had to go back to this because this is what works for him. And thank the Lord, we found something that worked for him for math, because he has been learning kindergarten math for like 4 years now. And this is where it's finally started to click. And thank God for that. One of the other oddly specific subjects that really worked super well for my son. Like, again, we tried a bunch of curriculums. But with my son, he's all over the place. I mean, he can learn, what he learns, grade levels are all over the place for different subjects. We found that doing just science and history unit studies worked absolutely wonderfully for us. Just the way we usually do it was we'd find documentaries and learning videos, especially ones with songs. That was a great way for him to learn, like, memory things. So Horrible Histories was great for the history sections. Was to make our own little playlists, and we would pair it up with books and worksheets. And education.com was great to find a bunch of worksheets and stuff to pair up a lot of our things with. We tried a bunch of different things, though. We did so many different unit studies this year because he didn't want to just do one or the other. He wanted to do, I mean, I call it a unit study, but basically it was us choosing to study a time period or a certain type of science and then just immersing in it. We were still doing our English and our math separate. I call it English, but I mean like all the language arts subjects. And the maths are separate. But we would take turns doing a history and then do a science. These are really just fun but educational videos, and we did a whole lot of and we had a whole bunch of books and library visits and web searches and projects that went along with all this. And my son learns so amazing by just taking art with everything. If he can draw what he's learning about, he does amazing with history and science and English. Oh my goodness. Drawing the picture to go with the story or the poem is just right on. But we had so many books and just documentaries, and not just on here. This is just like our playlists for YouTube, but we also were using Netflix and Hulu and library movies and just documentaries. And my son just loves to learn history, and he absolutely thrives with science. So with science, we were actually doing even more in depth. We would do the videos, and we would do science experiments, and we would research it in encyclopedias. He is currently making his own encyclopedia as his year-long project because he wanted a monthly project and then a year-long project, especially for science, and that's great. Again, he's advanced in certain areas and behind in others, and just, oh, and I have to tell you, making food from different time periods with him was so fun. It was so fun. And watching other people try foods from other time periods. And if you have a kid with a sensory thing and there's something that actually that makes them want to try new things, like make a medieval bread and try it, that's just amazing. He was willing to try it. Yeah, some things on here are just for fun, just like cartoons and things that go along with it, but just, I like trying things with my kid, and I like exploring time periods in science, and that was just so much fun for me and for him. And I love that he learned so much this year. Yep, my son's science and art were out of this world this year, and combining them for him was beautiful and amazing, and he's just so impressive to me. But his handwriting is getting better with the more he writes. His spelling is getting better. It's not perfect, as you can see in these pages, but he is working on it. He is trying. And being able to do something he really, really loves, like spending 3 months studying the ocean and all the creatures in it, or diving into medieval times and studying about King John and the Magna Carta. He's so smart, and I'm so glad that we did this year, and I cannot wait for next year. And thank God I live in a place where I can do this for him. Thanks for watching, guys.